The Frostivus update as well as patch 735 have been released, and in this video we're going to take a look at how these changes affect Lone Druid. Lone Druid has been one of the strongest heroes in the last couple of months, having success across all the brackets, and I've also had personally a lot of success with the hero, playing him mostly as a mid laner and, as you can see, having absurdly high win rates. In particular, take a look at this. I won my lane in 86% of games. And the games where I lost, I usually didn't lose by much. So this hero was an extremely strong laner. So it makes sense that Lone Druid gets some nerfs. In particular, his laning stage is affected by this bear armor nerf. Now we have 0 armor at the start, going up to the usual 6 at the end. So this is not going to hurt us long term, just the laning stage is going to be slightly worse. There's going to be more matchups where we might have to buy a TP scroll for the bear. Still not a starting item, but something you want to ship out in lanes where you know that the regular resummon is not going to be quite enough. Also, our long-term prospects get hurt a little bit with our strength gain getting nerfed. So 0.2 strength gain reduced means that at level 11 we're going to have 2 less strength. Level 21 we're going to have 4 less strength. Not that big of a deal. Savage Roll loses a slight bit of radius. That's not going to matter too much. And then the level 15 talent. This is irrelevant. No one takes the armor talent. This is the more important one. Savage Roll cooldown is now reduced by 7 seconds, not by 8 seconds. You still always take this talent, but it now means that Savage Roll in the late game is going to have 13-second cooldown instead of 12. So these are some nerfs, but they're relatively gentle nerfs, and we get actually quite a bit of compensation. First of all, we get a direct buff here to fetch. That's the shard for the bear. And then we get lots of indirect buffs. So let's take a look at those. The super creeps and mega creeps now get 5 extra damage. And since Lone Druid is good at going high ground and getting those super and mega creeps, that's indirect buff to him. The curry health is now replaced with attacks to kill. And it's killed after 1 melee attack or 2 ranged attacks. And the bear counts as a melee hero for this purpose. So bear now always one-shots couriers. So we can sometimes snipe couriers in lane with this. We have a slight buff to Tormentor, which now does a little bit more damage, but it's still quite easy to solo Tormentor on Lone Druid as long as you use your ultimate, so this doesn't really hurt us. Double damage rune now only does 80% bonus damage, instead has 15% spell amp, so this is a nerf to Lone Druid, but it's not a big deal. But where it's really at is the item changes. So these new items, not that strong on Lone Druid, but some of the reworked items, some of the changed items are quite strong. First of all, Bloodthorn. This item is extremely expensive, essentially the same cost, but it now provides 100 attack speed bonus. That is pretty big. And it also has the Javelin effect now, 40% chance to pierce evasion, do 60 bonus damage. This item offers a ton of DPS, also when you have the active, hero's attacks also will do 60 bonus damage. This is a really strong item for the late game. If you're running out of slots, this can be like a very nice like 5th or 6th item on the bear. And it's like a sort of soft version of MKB. If you're up against a PA or something, you probably still want MKB. But if you're facing lesser evasion, like a Radiance or something like that, then this might be good enough. Speaking of evasion, now we have a butterfly change. Doesn't provide 30 attack speed anymore, but now has 20% base attack speed bonus. This is much stronger. It's going to be especially much stronger on heroes that get lots of agi items and have lots of agi gain themselves, which Lone Druid doesn't really have on his bear. But still, it's quite a bit stronger, albeit more expensive. So I think it's a bit of a side grade from Lone Druid's perspective. Then we have Disperser, another popular Lone Druid item. No longer gives 45 damage, but now has an extra 20 agi. So 20 agi is 14 damage on a universal hero. So we're losing 31 damage, but gaining 20 attack speed and 3 point something armor. We're also gaining 1 extra second on the active. This is not really better or worse. It's a side grade, doesn't really change too much. Another side grade is Echo Saber, so it's slightly more expensive, 200 gold more. We lose 10 int, we lose 10 attack speed. but we sort of get back the damage that we lost from the int with the 5 damage here and 2 strength there, so damage wise this is about the same. And we also indirectly get back the attack speed with having a lower cooldown on Echo Strike. So this is slightly less attack speed, but we get a bit more slow. So on the whole, I would say this new Echo Saber is a little bit worse for Lone Druid, but doesn't change too much. But the real reason we buy Echo Saber on Lone Druid anyway is because we want Harpoon. And Harpoon is also 200 gold more expensive. Also doesn't have the attack speed anymore. But it gets plus 10 damage here, an extra 5 strength here. We lose 6 int, so damage is a little bit higher. And we have a little bit less cooldown. So on the whole, I think Harpoon is slightly stronger now on the bear. But the bigger buff here is to Maelstrom. Now includes the Gloves of Haste. And it's a little bit more expensive by 250 gold. But we gladly pay that for having 25 attack speed. We lose a little bit of chain lightning damage, but still this item is going to offer much greater DPS on the bear, and I think it's now perhaps the better standard item than going for Diffu first. It's just an extremely efficient item on lots of heroes, but especially on the bear, where extra attack speed is very appreciated. And although we lose that little bit of damage on chain lightning, we get it back once we upgrade to Mjolnir. It has the same lightning damage as always, but gets an extra 20 attack speed. And the upgrade now is also cheaper to make up for the higher cost of Maelstrom. So this item is just straight up a lot better now. Also some changes to Mask of Madness, which is a bit of a side grade. We lose the 10 attack speed but get extra 10 damage, which of course is better. But it's also a little bit more expensive. So I really wouldn't recommend Mask of Madness before this. I don't really recommend Mask of Madness after this, but it's still like a viable option. Orb of Corrosion has been reworked. Now no longer includes the armor reduction component, and now it gives you 3 armor and 25 attack speed, and the corrosion passive doesn't reduce armor anymore, but it's now 5 DPS and also affects buildings, which is nice. The slow is the same as it used to be. And it now also reduces healing, regen, lifesteal, and spell lifesteal by 20%. That's a really neat bonus. And if you just look at the build-up, like all these items, Over Venom, Ring of Protection, Gloves of Haste, these are items that are already strong on the bear. You just don't always buy them because slot considerations, but if you combine all of them together and we get even an extra 5 attack speed and 1 armor, this is an extremely efficient item. And I think with these changes, you pretty much always go over corrosion on Lone Druid. So on the whole, Lone Druid probably ever so slightly weaker in this patch, but these item changes I think make up for most of the direct nerfs. In terms of playstyle, it's going to be pretty much the same. You want to get over corrosion now, pretty much every game, and Maelstrom is now a stronger option than it used to be. It was already a viable choice, but now I think we're going to see a little bit more Maelstrom over Diffu, but the old Diffu build is still very strong. So now go forth and play some Lone Druid, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel if you want to see me also break down the patch from the perspective of Visage and Chen. Those videos also coming up. And if you want to see more content right now, click on one of the videos on the screen, and Obel's willing, I'll see you there.